The Galactic Council chamber was full for the first time in decades. Every species had sent representatives, even those who normally avoided council business. They all wanted to see the humans up close, to understand the species that had turned the galaxy's military thinking upside down in less than a year. Fleet Admiral Nari walked to the speaker's platform with calm confidence. Beside her stood Commander Hyun, head of Earth's Special Operations Command. Behind them, 6 operators in dress uniforms provided security. They stood at attention, weapons clearly visible, eyes constantly scanning the room. Ambassador Vexlar stepped forward to greet them. Admiral Nari, Commander Hyun, welcome. The Council has many questions about your military capabilities, particularly your Special Operations Forces. We're here to answer what we can, Nari replied. Some information remains classified, but we understand the Council's concerns. The questioning began immediately. The Krithian representative stood first. Our outposts in the border regions have gone dark. No attacks, no warnings. They simply stop responding. When we investigate, we find everyone unconscious, all data networks accessed. Are your special forces responsible? Commander Hyun answered. We conduct reconnaissance operations in areas of strategic interest. We don't kill unless attacked. Your people were sedated, your facilities inspected for threats, then we left. No permanent damage, but how? The Krithian demanded. We have advanced security, sophisticated sensors. How do you infiltrate without detection? Training and technology, Hyun said simply. We select the best candidates, put them through years of specialized instruction and equip them with cutting-edge equipment. But mostly it's mindset. Our operators are trained to think differently, to see opportunities where others see only obstacles. A representative from the Drathian Empire spoke next. We intercepted communications showing human soldiers surviving in extreme environments. Toxic atmospheres, radiation zones, temperature extremes that would kill our people within minutes. How? Humans evolved on a death world, Nari explained. Earth has extreme weather, dangerous animals, and hostile environments. We adapted to survive in conditions most species consider uninhabitable. Our special forces trained specifically to operate in the worst possible situations. The questions continued for hours. Each species shared their encounters with human special forces, painting a picture of warriors who seemed almost supernatural. The Council heard stories of impossible infiltrations, surgical strikes that eliminated targets without collateral damage, and psychological operations that caused enemy forces to surrender without fighting. Through it all, Commander Hyun provided careful answers. He described selection processes that tested candidates to their absolute limits. He explained training programs that took years to complete and produced failure rates above 70%. He discussed the integration of advanced technology with human physiology and psychology, but he never revealed everything. He didn't mention the full capabilities of human cloaking systems. He didn't discuss the experimental weapons in development. He didn't explain the true extent of Earth's intelligence gathering across the galaxy. Some secrets needed to remain secret. During a break in questioning, Lieutenant Ariam prepared for a demonstration. She was young for a Special Forces operator, only 25, but her record was impressive. 63 successful missions across 12 different types of operations. She specialized in reconnaissance and direct action. The Council had requested a demonstration of human Special Forces capabilities. Ariam would provide one, though carefully controlled to avoid revealing too much. A secured facility had been prepared in the station's lower levels. It contained the best security systems the Council could assemble: motion sensors, thermal imaging, pressure plates, automated turrets, and live guards from multiple species. The objective was simple: infiltrate, access a data terminal in the center of the facility, and extract without being detected. The Council members watched through cameras as Ariam entered. She wore her operational gear, form-fitting suit, equipment harness, weapons, and sensor package. The moment she crossed the entrance threshold, she seemed to blur and fade, her cloaking system activating. What happened next amazed the watching aliens. Ariam moved through the facility like a ghost. Thermal sensors couldn't track her because her suit managed heat signature. Motion detectors swept past her as she timed her movements perfectly. Pressure plates didn't register her weight because she distributed it across multiple points. The guards never saw her. She moved through their patrol patterns, predicting their movements, always staying in their blind spots. When she had to cross open areas, She waited for precise moments when multiple factors aligned to create safe windows. She reached the central terminal in 8 minutes. Her fingers danced across the controls, bypassing security with practiced ease. Data began downloading to her portable device. The entire time, alarms stayed silent. Guards remained unaware, and automated systems detected nothing. The extraction was just as smooth. Ariam retraced her path, avoiding the same obstacles, staying invisible. She exited the facility exactly 12 minutes after entering. The council members sat in stunned silence as she removed her helmet and smiled. "The demonstration is complete," she said. "I accessed your terminal, downloaded test data, and exited without triggering any alarms. In a real operation, I would have also planted surveillance devices and mapped your entire security system." The facility's security chief reviewed his logs. No alerts, no anomalies, no indication that anyone had infiltrated. If they hadn't watched it happen on camera, they would never have known. "This is impossible," the chief said. "Our systems should have detected something." "Your systems are designed to detect conventional threats," Ariam replied. "We're not conventional." The council reconvened after the demonstration. The mood had changed. Before, they had heard stories and reports. Now they had seen human special forces in action with their own eyes. The reality was more frightening than any report had conveyed. A new species representative stood, one who had remained silent until now. "We must understand something," he said. "These operators, these special forces, are they your best soldiers?" "Yes," Commander Hyun replied. "How many do you have?" Hyun paused, considering his answer carefully. "Exact numbers are classified, but Earth has multiple special operations units, each specialized in different mission types: direct action, special reconnaissance, unconventional warfare, counterterrorism, foreign internal defense, hostage rescue, cyber operations, and others. We have thousands of operators, with more being trained constantly." The council chamber erupted in shocked conversation. Not dozens of elite soldiers. Not hundreds. Thousands. Earth had industrialized the creation of warriors who could accomplish impossible missions. Ambassador Vexlar called for order. The council must vote on a new classification system. Earth's regular military forces remain Class 7 threat level. Their special operations forces require a new designation. The vote was unanimous. Earth's special forces became Class 9 threat level, the highest rating ever assigned by the council. The classification came with recommendations. Avoid conflict with Earth at all costs. Establish diplomatic relations, pursue trade agreements, and never, ever provoke their special operations community. Admiral Nari addressed the council one final time. "We don't want to be your enemies. We want to trade, to share knowledge, to build peaceful relationships across the galaxy. But we will defend ourselves and our interests. Our special forces exist to handle situations where conventional military cannot succeed. They operate in shadows, they accomplish impossible missions, and they never fail." She paused, letting her words sink in. "The best way to deal with Earth's special forces is to never give them a reason to target you. Build friendship with humanity, and you'll never have to fear our warriors in the dark." The council session ended with a new understanding spreading across the galaxy. Earth had claimed its place among the stars not through superior technology or ancient wisdom, but through the skill and determination of its warriors. Their regular soldiers would fight you in open battle. Their special forces would destroy you from the shadows. Either way, humanity would win. As the various species departed, many approached Admiral Nari with offers of cooperation, trade agreements, and alliances. The humans accepted, building bridges across the galaxy. But everyone understood the unspoken truth. These friendships were built on respect earned through demonstrated capability. Earth's special forces had become legendary across thousands of worlds. Parents told their children stories about human operators who could appear anywhere, accomplish anything, and disappear without trace. Military academies studied human tactics, trying to understand their unconventional approaches. Intelligence agencies attempted to recruit human operatives, usually unsuccessfully. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity was not to be trifled with. Their special forces had proven that Earth's warriors operated on a different level than any species had encountered before. And while the galaxy hoped never to face them in combat again, everyone knew the truth. Somewhere in the shadows, Earth's special operators were watching, preparing, training for the next impossible mission. The age of human dominance in unconventional warfare had begun. The Vorlax War Council met in secret, deep within their homeworld's fortress. 200 warships orbited above, the largest fleet they had assembled in 50 years. The council members wore black armor trimmed with silver, marking them as the highest military authority in the Dominion. General Corvin slammed his fist on the table. We have been humiliated. High Warlord Zexthar is dead. Station Triumph is crippled. The entire galaxy watches us and laughs. We must respond with overwhelming force. The humans killed our High Warlord inside our most secure installation, another general said. How do we fight an enemy we cannot see? By destroying everything they have, Corvin replied. We will not hunt their special forces. We will crush Earth itself. 200 ships, full assault. We will turn their homeworld into dust. The council voted unanimously for war. Within hours, the Vorlax fleet began moving toward Earth. They traveled through hyperspace, expecting to arrive in 3 days. They believed their overwhelming numbers would guarantee victory. They were wrong. Earth's military intelligence detected the fleet immediately. Sensors scattered across the galaxy picked up the massive hyperspace signature. By the time the Vorlax were halfway to Earth, Admiral Nari had already developed a response plan. We can't stop 200 warships with conventional forces, she told her senior officers. They'll overwhelm our defenses through sheer numbers. We need to cut off the head of the snake. Captain Dahyun stood at attention in the Admiral's office. He commanded Shadow Strike Team, Earth's most elite direct action unit. His record included 37 classified missions, all successful. He was 30 years old and looked like a normal soldier, but his abilities were far from ordinary. You want us to board their flagship during hyperspace travel, Dahyun said. It wasn't a question. He had already guessed the mission parameters. Yes, Nari replied. Capture their commander, General Corvin. Without him, the fleet will fall into confusion. We can negotiate from a position of strength. Boarding a ship in hyperspace is theoretically impossible, Dahyun said. The energy fields, the dimensional stress, the navigation requirements. One mistake and we're scattered across light years. That's why we developed the experimental insertion pods, Nari said. She pulled up a hologram showing a sleek capsule covered in strange equipment. They can match hyperspace signatures and insert into a moving ship's wake. It's dangerous, but possible. Dahyun studied the design. How many times has this been tested? Twice, both successful. And how many times has it been used in combat? This will be the first, Dahyun smiled. When do we leave? His team consisted of 12 operators, each a specialist in different aspects of combat. They loaded into 3 insertion pods aboard a fast courier ship, racing to intercept the Vorlax fleet. The courier matched the fleet's hyperspace signature, flying parallel to them in that strange dimension between normal space. Matching velocity, the pilot reported. Calculating insertion window. You'll have 30 seconds to launch all 3 pods. Dahyun checked his equipment one final time. Powered armor, smart weapons, breaching charges, medical supplies. Everything he needed to fight through a warship and capture its commander. Around him, his team did the same, their movements calm despite the insane mission they were about to attempt. 10 seconds, the pilot said. 5, 3, 2, 1, launch. The pods shot from the courier ship, diving into the hyperspace wake behind the Vorlax flagship. Reality twisted around them. Colors that shouldn't exist flashed past the viewports. Then, with a violent jolt, they slammed into the flagship's hull and began cutting through. The Vorlax crew heard the cutting but didn't understand what it meant. No one had ever boarded a ship during hyperspace travel. It was impossible. Yet 3 breaches opened in their hull, and human operators poured through before the security systems could respond. Dahyun's team moved fast. They had studied the ship's layout for days, memorizing every corridor and junction. They split into 3 groups, fighting through the ship with coordinated precision. The Vorlax soldiers they encountered died before they could raise alarms. The flagship's elite guard was different. These were veteran soldiers trained in close combat and equipped with heavy armor. They formed a defensive line in front of the command deck, determined to protect General Corvin. Breach and clear, Dahyun ordered. His team threw flashbang grenades that stunned the Vorlax guards. Then they rushed forward, weapons firing. The close-quarters battle was brutal and fast. Human-powered armor clashed with Vorlax heavy weapons. The corridor filled with smoke and the flash of energy weapons. 2 operators fell, wounded but not dead. The rest pushed forward, breaking through the defensive line through sheer aggression and superior tactics. Within 5 minutes, they reached the command deck doors. "Breaching charge," Daehyun said. The charge blew the doors inward. Daehyun's team rushed through, weapons ready. Inside, General Corvin stood at the center of the command deck, surrounded by his bridge officers. They had drawn their sidearms, ready to fight. "Stand down," Daehyun said in perfect Vorlax. "You're coming with us." Corvin's eyes widened. "Yes. You boarded us during hyperspace? That's impossible." "Apparently not," Daehyun replied. "Your options are simple. Surrender or watch your bridge crew die. Choose quickly." Corvin looked at his officers. Young soldiers, many in their first command positions. Good people who didn't deserve to die for his pride. He slowly lowered his weapon. "I surrender," he said quietly. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Lieutenant Commander Minji sat in a dark room filled with computer screens. She was Earth's top cyber warfare specialist, and she had been working non-stop for 3 days. Her mission was simpler than Daehyun's, but just as critical. Break the Vorlax fleet's communication systems. The Vorlax used military-grade encryption, constantly changing codes that should have been unbreakable. But human computer systems were more advanced than the aliens realized. Earth's quantum processors could break encryptions in seconds that would take conventional systems years to crack. Minji had been inside the Vorlax network for a week, hiding in their systems like a ghost. She had access to their communication protocols, their navigation systems, even their weapons targeting. Now, as Daehyun's team captured General Corvin, she activated her virus. False orders flooded through the Vorlax fleet. Ships received commands to change course, to power down weapons, to investigate non-existent threats. The fleet's perfect formation began to break apart as ships scattered across space, each following different instructions. By the time the Vorlax communication officers realized they were under cyber attack, it was too late. Their entire command structure had collapsed. Ships couldn't coordinate, officers couldn't reach each other. The mighty fleet became 200 individual ships, confused and vulnerable. Admiral Nari watched the chaos from Earth's command center. "Send the broadcast," she ordered. General Corvin appeared on every screen in the Vorlax fleet. He sat in a human detention cell, looking tired and defeated. "This is General Corvin," he said slowly. "I order all Vorlax forces to stand down and withdraw immediately. We have been defeated. The humans have captured me and infiltrated our communication systems. Further resistance is pointless." The Vorlax fleet captains didn't want to believe it, but they could see the evidence. Their commander was captured. Their systems were compromised. And somewhere out there, invisible human forces were likely targeting their ships next. One by one, the Vorlax ships began withdrawing. They jumped back into hyperspace, retreating toward their home territory. The largest fleet ever assembled against Earth, scattered without firing a single shot. Daehyun's team extracted from the flagship using the same insertion pods that had brought them. The Vorlax crew didn't try to stop them. They were too shocked, too confused, too scared. Within an hour, Daehyun and his team were back on Earth, their mission complete. General Corvin sat in an interview room facing Admiral Nari across a simple table. "I don't understand," he said. "How did you do this? Boarding a ship in hyperspace, breaking our communications, defeating our fleet without a battle." "Because we think differently," Nari replied. "You planned to win through overwhelming force. We planned to win by removing your ability to coordinate that force. You fought the battle you wanted. We fought the battle we chose." "The Council was right," Corvin said quietly. "We should have left Earth alone." "Yes," Nari agreed. "You should have." The Galactic Council received news of the Vorlax defeat within hours. 200 warships scattered by 12 special operators and 1 cyber warfare specialist. The galaxy's understanding of human capability had changed again. Earth didn't just have dangerous soldiers. They had warriors who could accomplish the impossible, who could turn enemy strength into weakness, who could fight wars in ways no other species had imagined. The message was now clear across every civilized world. Never threaten Earth. Their response would be swift, devastating, and completely unexpected. The humans had claimed their place among the galactic powers, not through diplomacy or technology, but through the skill of their special forces, and the galaxy would never be the same. The stealth carrier Silent Knife drifted through the darkness between stars. From the outside, it looked like empty space. Advanced cloaking systems bent light and radiation around its hull, making it invisible to sensors. Inside, Major Yunho stood before a holographic display, briefing his team. "This is the Vorlax Forward Operating Base, Station Triumph," Yunho said. The hologram showed a massive structure orbiting a dead planet. After their defeat at New Sejong, the Vorlax are regrouping here. Intelligence says their high command is planning their next move from this station. 6 operators sat around the briefing table, listening carefully. They wore black suits covered in equipment pouches and weapons. Each one had been selected from thousands of candidates, trained for years in operations that would seem impossible to regular soldiers. Lieutenant Subin, fresh from the Europa mission, studied the hologram carefully. "Security?" "Heavy," Yunho replied. 3,000 soldiers, automated defense systems, redundant sensors, and shielded command centers. The Vorlax designed this station to be impenetrable. One of the operators, a young woman named Hyejin, smiled slightly. "Good. I was worried this would be too easy." Yunho allowed himself a brief smile. "Mission objectives: infiltrate the station, access their central computer core, download all. Intelligence on Vorlax military capabilities and future plans, then eliminate their high command. Extract without being detected if possible. Full Ghost Protocol. Ghost Protocol meant they would operate as if they didn't exist. No direct combat unless absolutely necessary, no traces left behind. The enemy would never know they were there until it was too late." "Time limit?" asked Sergeant Dong Yun, the team's technical specialist. 6 hours, Yunho said. "After that, the station will be too hot. Questions?" There were none. These operators had run missions like this dozens of times. Different targets, different objectives, but the same core principle. Get in, complete the mission, get out. The impossible made routine through training and skill. The insertion was the most dangerous part. Silent Knife approached the station at minimum power, matching its orbital speed perfectly. The team loaded into a stealth pod, a cramped cylinder barely big enough for 6 people and their equipment. The pod launched silently, drifting toward the station like a piece of space debris. Subin controlled their approach, using tiny thruster bursts to guide them toward a maintenance airlock on the station's lower levels. The Vorlax sensors swept past them twice, but the pod's minimal heat signature and radar-absorbing coating kept them hidden. They touched down on the hull without a sound. "Airlock ahead," Subin whispered into her helmet comm. "Dongyun, you're up." Dongyun pulled out a device that looked like a small tablet. He pressed it against the airlock control panel, and lines of alien code scrolled across the screen. The Vorlax encryption was good, but human computer systems had been breaking alien security for years now. After 90 seconds, the airlock opened with a soft hiss. The team moved inside quickly, weapons ready. The corridor beyond was empty, dimly lit by emergency lighting. According to their intelligence, this maintenance level was automated, visited by crews only once per shift. They had 4 hours until the next inspection. Moving through the station was like a deadly game of hide-and-seek. Subin's team used their suit systems to monitor patrol routes and security cameras. When guards approached, they pressed into shadows or hid in maintenance closets. When cameras swept their direction, they waited motionless, trusting their cloaking systems to blur their outlines. They encountered their first real obstacle at a security checkpoint, blocking access to the upper levels. 4 guards in powered armor stood watch, scanning everyone who passed through. There was no way around them. "Options?" Subin asked quietly. Hyejin studied the checkpoint layout. "Air circulation vent, upper right corner. Big enough for 1 person. I can get through, disable the scanner from the other side, and you all walk through like you belong here." It was risky. If she was caught, the entire mission would be compromised. But these operators were trained to take calculated risks. Subin nodded. "Do it." Hyejin moved like smoke, climbing up to the vent without being seen. She disappeared inside, and the team waited in tense silence. 2 minutes passed. Then the security scanner's display flickered and went dark. The guards cursed and started examining the equipment, arguing about whether to report the malfunction or fix it themselves. Subin's team simply walked through while the guards were distracted. To any observer, They looked like maintenance workers in standard suits. Their special forces gear was hidden under cloaking fields, and their faces were digitally altered to match the station's crew database. They passed within 2 meters of the guards, who never looked up from their broken scanner. The central computer core was deep in the station's heart, protected by multiple security layers. Getting there required careful planning and perfect timing. The team split into pairs, taking different routes to avoid patterns that security systems might detect. Subin and Donghyun reached the core first. The room was massive, filled with computing equipment that processed the station's data. 2 technicians worked at terminals, monitoring systems. There was no way to access the core without them noticing. Nerve agent, Donghyun suggested quietly. Colorless, odorless. They'll be unconscious in seconds. No, Subin said. They'll run medical scans, find the agent, know someone infiltrated. We need them awake but distracted. She pulled out a small device and attached it to a nearby power conduit. 10 seconds later, alarms began blaring throughout the station. The technicians jumped up, reading their displays with growing panic. A reactor malfunction in Section 7 according to the warning. Critical but not immediate. The technicians ran from the room, heading toward the supposed emergency. Subin and Donghyun moved to the core terminals the moment they were alone. Donghyun's fingers flew across the controls, bypassing security with practiced ease. Data began flowing into their storage devices. Military plans, ship designs, troop deployments, communication codes. Everything. 3 minutes to download, Donghyun said. Those 3 minutes felt like hours. Any moment someone might discover the false alarm. Any moment security might sweep the area. But the data kept flowing, and the room stayed empty. Meanwhile, the rest of Subin's team had reached the command center. High Warlord Zexthar was there, along with his top officers, planning their response to the new Sejong disaster. They studied star maps and argued about strategies, unaware that death stood in the shadows around them. The operators had small, explosive charges, powerful enough to penetrate the command center's armor but precise enough to avoid damaging the rest of the station. They placed them at key structural points, moving around the officers like ghosts. The Vorlax never noticed, never felt the presence of humans just meters away. When the charges were set, the team withdrew silently. They met Subin and Donghyun at the extraction point, a small hangar bay near the maintenance level. Their stealth pod was still there, waiting. Mission complete, Subin reported to Major Yunho. Intelligence acquired. Charges placed. Ready for extraction. Get clear, Yunho replied. Blow the charges when you're safe. The team loaded into the pod and launched. Silent Knife picked them up 3 kilometers from the station, drawing them into its hangar bay. Only when they were safely aboard did Subin activate the detonator. Back on Station Triumph, the explosive charges activated simultaneously. The command center's walls collapsed inward, killing everyone inside instantly. High Warlord Zexthar and his entire senior staff died without ever knowing they had been infiltrated. The station erupted into chaos. Emergency systems activated. Soldiers ran through corridors, searching for enemies they would never find. By the time they realized what happened, Silent Knife was already light years away, carrying intelligence that would help Earth understand Vorlax's capabilities for years to come. Major Yunho debriefed the team personally. Perfect execution, he said. No casualties, all objectives met. Enemy never knew we were there until it was over. This is how special operations should work. Subin removed her helmet, feeling the weight of the mission lift from her shoulders. 6 hours of perfect concentration, where one mistake could have meant death. But they had trained for this their entire careers. They were Earth's shadows, the warriors who fought wars in secret, who accomplished missions that regular soldiers couldn't even attempt. News of the attack spread through the galaxy within days. The Vorlax tried to keep it quiet, but too many people had died, too much damage had been done. Other species learned that Earth's special forces could infiltrate the most secure installations, eliminate high-value targets, and disappear without a trace. The Galactic Council held another emergency session. This time there was no debate. Earth's special forces were classified as Class 9 threat level, the highest rating ever given. Species across the galaxy received the same warning: never provoke humanity. Their soldiers will fight you openly. Their special operators will destroy you in secret. Either way, you will lose. High Warlord Zexthar sat in his command chair aboard the battleship Dominant Fist. Around him, holographic displays showed the Vorlax war fleet assembling in formation. 30 warships carrying 10,000 soldiers, all for a simple demonstration strike against a human mining colony. The Council wastes time with fear, Zexthar said to his second-in-command. These humans are aggressive, yes, but aggression without technology is just noise. We have ships that can crack planets. We have weapons older than their civilization. They have passion and determination. We have power. His second-in-command nodded, though something in his expression suggested doubt. The intelligence reports say the humans adapt quickly, Warlord. Perhaps we should crush them before other species begin to believe the Council's warnings. Zexthar interrupted. The Vorlax Dominion has conquered 47 star systems. We will not be frightened by primitives who barely know how to build starships. The fleet moved toward Jupiter's moon Europa. There, the human colony of New Sejong sat on the ice, mining valuable minerals from beneath the frozen surface. The colony had a small garrison of Earth Marines, maybe 300 soldiers. Against 10,000 Vorlax warriors, they would fall in hours. Colonel Jinwoo received the warning 15 minutes before the Vorlax fleet arrived. He was in the command center reviewing supply reports when the alarm started screaming. His communications officer looked up with wide eyes. Sir, sensors show 30 warships entering orbit. They're not responding to hails. Energy signatures match Vorlax Dominion vessels. Jinwoo felt his stomach tighten. 30 warships. He had 300 Marines and defensive guns designed to stop small raids, not a full invasion force. Sound General Quarters. Get everyone to battle stations. Send a distress call to Earth Command. Sir, Earth is 40 minutes away even at maximum speed, his executive officer said. We'll be overrun before help arrives. Then we hold as long as we can, Jinwoo replied. He pulled on his helmet and checked his rifle. That's what Marines do. The Vorlax assault began with precision. Dropships landed around the colony's perimeter. Troops in powered armor advanced in perfect formation, firing heavy weapons that tore through the colony's outer defenses. They moved like a machine, each unit supporting the others, overwhelming human positions through sheer firepower. Jinwoo's Marines fought back hard. They used every trick they knew, every tactic from 100 years of human warfare. They set ambushes, used the colony's tunnels to flank enemy positions, and made the Vorlax pay for every meter of ground. But the numbers were impossible. For every Vorlax soldier they killed, 3 more took his place. By the end of the first day, the Vorlax had captured 60% of the colony. Jinwoo pulled his remaining forces back to the central hab domes. 200 Marines were still alive, but they were running out of ammunition and options. We need to evacuate, his executive officer said. Blood ran down her face from a head wound. Sir, we've done our duty. We can't win this. Jinwoo looked at his exhausted soldiers. They had fought for 16 hours straight. They deserved better than to die in this frozen hell. But before he could give the order to retreat, his communications officer shouted, Colonel, incoming transmission. It's not Vorlax. It's not our standard frequency either. A voice came through the speakers, calm, almost casual. Colonel Jinwoo, this is Shadow Team 1. We're here to even the odds. Keep your people in the central domes. Things are about to get interesting out there. Jinwoo had never heard of Shadow Team 1, but something in that calm voice made him believe. All units hold position. Say again, hold current positions. The Vorlax commanders noticed the change immediately. Human communications had gone quiet. Their defensive fire had stopped. Victory seemed certain. Zexthar, watching from orbit, smiled. The humans had finally realized they couldn't win. Then the first Vorlax officer died. He was giving orders to his unit when something invisible cut his throat. His soldiers spun around, firing at empty air. 2 more fell before the others even understood what was happening. Panic spread through the Vorlax formation. In another sector, a Vorlax heavy weapons team was setting up to bombard the central domes when their ammunition exploded. The blast killed the entire squad and destroyed their artillery piece. Security cameras showed nothing, just shadows moving in the darkness. Communication breakdown started across the Vorlax force. Officers couldn't reach their units. Orders went to the wrong squads. Supply lines broke down. Vorlax soldiers reported seeing ghosts moving through their positions, appearing and disappearing like smoke. The truth was simpler and more terrifying than ghosts. Earth's special forces had arrived. 20 operators from Shadow Team, equipped with advanced cloaking technology and weapons designed for surgical strikes. They moved through the Vorlax positions like death itself, invisible and unstoppable. Lieutenant Subin led one 4-person team deep into Vorlax territory. She and her operators used the colony's service tunnels to get behind enemy lines. Their suits bent light around them, making them nearly impossible to see. Their weapons were silenced, designed to kill without alerting nearby enemies. "Target the officers first," Subin whispered into her team channel. "Command and control. Make them blind and confused." Her team split up, each operator taking a different sector. They killed Vorlax commanders in their own command posts. They sabotaged communications equipment. They planted explosives on ammunition dumps and triggered them when Vorlax soldiers gathered nearby. The enemy never saw them coming, never got a clear shot, never understood what was happening. By the second day, the Vorlax force was in chaos. Units fired on each other in confusion. Officers gave contradictory orders. Soldiers abandoned their positions, terrified of an enemy they couldn't see or fight. When a Vorlax relief force tried to land, they found their own troops retreating in disorder. On the third day, Colonel Jinwoo's Marines advanced from the central domes. The Vorlax, already broken by 3 days of invisible attacks, fled before them. By the time the sun set on that frozen moon, the battle was over. 10,000 Vorlax warriors had been defeated by 300 Marines and 20 special operators. Jinwoo found Lieutenant Subin in the colony's command center. She had removed her helmet, revealing a young woman with tired eyes. Her uniform was clean, showing no signs of the 3-day battle she had just fought. "Thank you," Jinwoo said simply. "You saved my Marines," Subin shook her head. "You saved them, Colonel. You held long enough for us to do our job." That took courage. She looked at the holographic display showing the retreating Vorlax ships. "They'll tell stories about this. They'll warn others. The galaxy needs to understand that attacking Earth comes with consequences." High Warlord Zexthar stood on the bridge of Dominant Fist, staring at the casualty reports. 90% of his ground force was dead or captured. 30 warships had failed to take a single mining colony defended by a few hundred soldiers. His officers were demanding to know what happened, and he had no answers to give them. The security footage made no sense. It showed his soldiers dying to invisible enemies. It showed his careful plans falling apart as if guided by some malevolent intelligence. It showed humans fighting in ways no species had ever fought before. When the Galactic Council received Zexthar's report, Ambassador Vexillar felt no satisfaction at being right. He simply added the incident to Earth's file and updated their threat classification. "They didn't send their main army," Vexillar told the Council. "They sent something else, something called Special Forces. These aren't regular soldiers. They're trained for missions behind enemy lines, for unconventional warfare, for operations that regular military cannot accomplish." The Council members who had dismissed Earth's threat now sat in worried silence. If regular human soldiers were Class 7, what level were these special operators? What other capabilities did Earth possess that the galaxy hadn't seen yet? The answer would come soon enough. And it would change everything the galaxy thought it knew about warfare. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was silent. 200 species sat in their designated seats, watching the holographic display at the center of the chamber. The images showed battlefields covered in smoke and fire. Ships exploded in the darkness of space. Soldiers ran across broken ground, firing weapons that flashed bright in the night. Ambassador Vexillar stood at the speaker's platform. His blue skin seemed to glow under the chamber lights. He was from the Drathian Empire, one of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. His people had seen countless wars across 10,000 years. But today his hands trembled as he operated the display controls. "This is the 4th invasion attempt against Earth," Vexillar said. His voice echoed through the chamber. "All 4 have failed. The humans have repelled forces that outnumbered them 3-1. The hologram changed. It now showed human soldiers in gray armor, moving through trenches on Mars. They fought with a fury that made several council members shift uncomfortably in their seats. The humans didn't fight like other species. They didn't fall back when wounded. They didn't surrender when surrounded. They fought until the enemy broke and ran. "Watch this closely," Vexillar said. The hologram zoomed in on a human commander. His armor was marked with symbols that the translator systems identified as rank insignia. "This is Commander Taeyang of their 7th Mechanized Infantry Division. He led 500 soldiers against 2,000 Krithian shock troops. The council watched as Taiyang's unit executed a fighting retreat that turned into a brutal counterattack. The humans used their terrain, their weapons, and even their damaged vehicles as weapons. When the Krithians tried to surround them, Taiyang's forces split into small groups and attacked from unexpected angles. The Krithian formation collapsed within an hour. The Krithians are born warriors, Vexlar continued. They train from childhood for combat. Yet the humans defeated them using tactics we've never seen before. They adapt during the battle itself. They change their plans faster than we can predict. A council member from the Vorlax Dominion stood up. His name was Zexthar, and he wore the medals of a decorated military officer. Ambassador, with respect, you're showing us primitive soldiers using crude tactics. Yes, they're aggressive. Yes, they're unpredictable. But this doesn't warrant calling an emergency council session. Vexalar's expression hardened. Counselor, I haven't shown you the worst part yet. The hologram shifted again. This time it displayed a medical facility on Luna Station, Earth's moon base. The camera showed rows of hospital beds. Most were empty now, but the records indicated they had been full 3 days ago. A human officer walked through the facility, her uniform crisp despite the recent battle. Captain Hana. Vexlar identified her. She commanded a company of 150 soldiers during the Luna Station siege. The attacking force had advanced battleships and heavy weapons. Captain Hana's unit had defensive positions and standard infantry equipment. The hologram showed the 3-day battle in fast forward. The aliens pounded the station with heavy weapons. They sent wave after wave of soldiers through breached walls. Captain Hana's forces fell back, then held, then counterattacked. When ammunition ran low, they fought hand to hand. When their positions were destroyed, they built new ones from rubble. After 3 days, Vexlar said quietly, the attackers withdrew. They had lost 60% of their forces. Captain Hana's company had taken 80% casualties, but they never surrendered the station. Those who could still fight continued fighting. Those too wounded to hold weapons directed fire for others. The council chamber remained silent. Several members looked disturbed by what they had seen. These humans don't know when to quit, another council member said. That's not tactical genius. That's madness, is it? Vexlar asked. They won all 4 invasions. They've held every position we've attacked. Their madness defeats our logic every time. He paused, letting his words sink in. I propose we classify Earth's military as a Class 7 threat level. No member species should engage them in warfare without council approval. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some agreed immediately. Others protested that Earth was still a young civilization with limited technology. How could primitive soldiers be classified as a Class 7 threat? That designation was reserved for galaxy-spanning empires with ancient weapons and vast fleets. They don't need ancient weapons, Vexlar argued. They turn our weapons against us. They use psychology, deception, and raw determination. They've studied warfare for their entire history. It's not a profession for them. It's part of their culture, their evolution. Zexthar from the Vorlax Dominion laughed. You're all afraid of soldiers who barely have space travel. The council has grown soft. These humans won a few battles against poorly planned invasions. Nothing more. Then I propose a test, Vexlar said. Send your best forces against them, counselor. Let's see how long they last. Zexthar's expression turned cold. Perhaps we will. The Vorlax Dominion doesn't fear primitives, no matter how aggressive they are. Back on Earth, Captain Hana stood at attention in the military headquarters. Around her, other officers waited in formation. Admiral Nari walked along the line, pinning medals on uniforms. She stopped in front of Hana and attached the silver star to her chest. Promoted to Major, Nari said. Well earned, Hana. Luna Station would have fallen without your leadership. Thank you, Admiral, Hana replied. She kept her voice steady, but inside she remembered every moment of those 3 days. The screaming, the explosions, her soldiers dying around her, the desperate last stand that somehow turned into victory. The aliens are talking about us. Nari continued in a lower voice. Intelligence reports say the Galactic Council had an emergency session. They're arguing about whether we're too dangerous to contact. Hana allowed herself a small smile. Good, maybe they'll leave us alone. Maybe, Nari agreed. But some species might see us as a challenge. They might want to prove they can beat us. She looked at Hana seriously. We need to be ready for anything. The next attack might come from somewhere we don't expect. Hana nodded. She thought about her soldiers recovering in hospitals across Earth and Luna. She thought about the families she had written letters to, explaining how their loved ones had died. She thought about the next battle, because she knew there would be one. There was always another battle. What neither Hana nor Admiral Nari knew was that the Galactic Council's discussion had revealed only part of Earth's capabilities. The aliens had seen regular military forces in action. They had witnessed standard infantry, mechanized divisions, and naval operations. They had classified all of this as Class 7 threat level, but they hadn't seen everything. They didn't know about the soldiers who operated in shadows. They didn't know about the teams that moved unseen through enemy territory. They didn't know about Earth's Special Operations Forces, the ones who fought wars that never made it into official reports. The galaxy thought it had seen the worst humanity could offer on a battlefield. They were wrong. They had only seen the beginning. And when they finally encountered Earth's true warriors, the ones who specialized in impossible missions and unconventional warfare, their understanding of human capability would change forever. The Council's warning about Earth's military was correct. But it was also incomplete. The real nightmare was still waiting in the dark, preparing for missions that regular soldiers couldn't accomplish. And soon, very soon, the galaxy would meet them.